Don't forget to press subscribe and support me on Patreon if you can. Thank you very much. Be the better man, please. I thought that line, out of all of the others in the finale to season 11, was the best, and I think the relationship between Ryan and Graham is what really came out the strongest out of that final episode, with Graham initially wanting to kill Tim Shaw, Tim Shaw, and I thought the episode as a whole was quite a solid season finale. One of the things I noticed was it wasn't kind of like the season finales that we've had in the past since the show came back in 2005. We've seen season finales which were kind of like all-encompassing, and the drama was ratcheted up and the music was ratcheted up, and this was pretty stable throughout. It was just a pretty solid, a very good story, I thought. It didn't do what I think the producers have said that it would do, which was to tie up some strands and to carry on some character development. I don't think there's been nearly enough character development in the series, so I don't think it actually hit the mark on what it was claimed it was going to do. There were some interesting bits with Ryan questioning the Doctor on violence, and the Doctor actually being confronted with the consequences of her actions. But there was no real reflection from the Doctor on what her actions had led to, and why her actions in The Woman Who Fell to Earth had come back to haunt her. There's no real reflection on from the Doctor on what she's been doing. So the Doctor having to confront what she'd done in the past, all she really did was say that that's so annoying. She finally confronted and she said, "Oh, that's annoying." I think that's a bit poor, really. I think it's much more interesting to delve into that. You've got a character who goes around intervening and interfering, and sometimes that's going to go well and sometimes that's going to go bad. It's much more interesting dramatically to play with that and actually make something out of it rather than just dismiss it. To have the character dismiss it when really, the Doctor needed to take some time there to reflect on what they'd done. In Rosa, the time traveller in Rosa was zapped back in time to somewhere, and we don't know where. And also in Arachnids, there was that kind of Trump character who was allowed to get away being very trigger happy and didn't really get any comeuppance. So there were some strands of the series which I thought would have been nice to have been resolved, and they actually just look now like they were incredibly bad kind of plot points and errors throughout the series, which I was rather hoping there wouldn't be. But more of that next week, because next week I'm going to do a full overview of Series 11. But I do think though that this was a solid episode. I enjoyed it. And I think it's a shame that we're going to have to wait until 2020 for the next series, although we've got the New Year's Day special coming up, and maybe them dreaded Daleks will return, is the rumour, so we will find out. Kind of really for the first time this series we saw a threat to the entire Earth, which was, it's become unusual where we haven't been used to that kind of alien threat to the entirety of the planet. Which was much more a staple of previous series, especially for season finales as well, series finales, whatever you want to call them. So that was quite interesting, and I think Tim Shaw is a fantastic villain, actually a really good character, and genuinely scary, especially now that he's bitter and twisted after 3,407 years plotting revenge. I thought the Ooks were a good idea as well, an interesting kind of alien being, obviously rather gullible, and ready to accept any old alien as a god. I was almost surprised that they didn't just kind of see the Doctor as the next person to come along as a potential god, but that would have been quite interesting. And finally we had a quarry. Wonderful. So I don't know what classic story to reference this week, because there's about 10% of all classic stories were made in quarries.